Welcome to Mediumship Moments with psychic medium Kym Durham. Join her as she shares her personal journey with mediumship, connects with your loved ones, and discusses topics dealing with spirituality.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mediumship Moments. I'm your podcast host, Kym Durham, second-gen psychic medium. And today I'm really excited that Cindy Kaza, a well-known, well-respected psychic medium, is joining us. So round of applause. Yay. Hi, Cindy. Thanks so much for being a guest today. You've been very kind with your time, and I appreciate it. So I wanted to talk to you because it's unusual. I mean, when I spoke to Anthony Maraca, he gave me a background of what it's like to be a psychic medium. And I'm hoping to do the same thing with you. Let's talk about your early years.
Yeah, my early years.
Yeah, I know. It just seemed like yesterday. But
gotta go back, Kym. Gotta go back.
We're going back, but not that far, Cindy. So a lot of us in the field can remember a time when it was like, it happened, where you had that experience. And you talked about your girlfriend who tragically died and that she visited you bedside. So if you want to talk a little bit about that and give my listeners an idea of what transpired.
Yeah, well, when I was 10, that I saw a full body apparition of a girl who died in my elementary school. And that's the first experience I can remember. Although at the time I didn't know what was happening, like I saw her, I knew something had happened. I knew I saw her, but I didn't know what a medium was. I didn't know what intuition was. I was always very sensitive. Like, for example, I would look at trees and rocks and be like, they have feelings,
You would see energy on them or just pick up that energy?
No, I would pick up the energy. I just could sense energy, people, places, things, but I didn't have the language for it. Nobody in my family talked about mediumship. So it wasn't until my 20s that I really started to understand what had been happening all along. But hindsight is 2020. So once I knew, then I could look back and be like, whoa, I've been having experiences forever, But it was really challenging because it created a lot of anxiety for me. A lot of people who are psychic have mediumistic abilities, who are empaths, have a lot of anxiety as well. It's kind of like par for the course. And so when I finally put the pieces together, it was just a relief to know that a lot of those feelings and a lot of the anxiety was actually coming from energy around me, right? But it was challenging. So I'm grateful to be able to actually share this part of my story with people, because I think it's when you don't understand what's happening, it can feel very scary. You can feel lonely. And I think everybody has this ability to a degree. I don't really think I'm unique in that sense. I've made this my life. This is what I do. But I think everybody has this ability. And I wish more people trusted their abilities. I think, yeah.
No. You bring up a good point, because I was lucky enough to grow up in a house where my mom had this ability. And so I had a mentor in my home who could understand it. And to not have that is, difficult, because growing up, you don't have somebody you could bounce it off of. And
yeah.
And we were both reared in Catholic backgrounds, and depending on New Testament, Old Testament, whether or not, we're a blessing and we have a gift, or someone should throw holy water on us and drag us off to church. There's a different way of how you're reared, how your family looked at this ability, and whether or not they supported you. And, talking about that empath ability and anxiety, absolutely. I can remember people talking about this ability and saying, wow, she wears her heart on her sleeve, or she's too sensitive, or
yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. And that anxiety, you were actually picking up on the energy of the room or before things happened, and you didn't know it because you were a psychic medium. You were sensitive. So it's interesting, you talk about that and bring up that first time that you can remember. A lot of people talk about who are psychic mediums have a moment in their life that's usually trauma-based, and yours was.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, physically or mentally, of this epiphany happening. And it's interesting, Duke University, Cindy, has done a lot of studies on this ability, and that it follows the maternal side. Have you noticed anybody, because I know you've been doing some digging up of, family members that you've learned about in your past. Has anybody shared with you that they read tea leaves or had Like always, grandmom always knew something. Did you have any of
Well,
that?
I mean, my mom, she was religious, so, but she was very intuitive as well. And she would just call it something different, So I think my mother definitely had it. My brother had it, but he didn't tell anybody until I started talking about it. Then he told me. But it was funny when I started doing ancestry.
Uh-huh.
So it was like when my dad's side of the family, they're Polish and Slovak. And so my great grandfather immigrated from Slovakia, well, what is now Slovakia,
Uh-huh.
in the late 1800s. And so, long story short, I started digging in my family history. Then, being on TV, my last name is really unusual. And
Yes.
so, when I went on Ancestry, then like some like really distant family members or like my dad's cousins who still live in Pennsylvania would like reach out to me. They're like, we thought we were related to you. We thought that because of the last
Yeah.
name,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so that was really fun. And so anyway, one of them messaged me and said, "Hey, there's a family story about your great grandfather and great grandmother George and Mary, that they were firm believers in the paranormal and they had a poltergeist in the house." I was like,
Really?
"What?" So like it's like I had no idea, and I guess that's like a story that most of the people that were close to that side know about. But my dad didn't know. He didn't talk about it. But I found out through Ancestry, which is
That
super
is so
interesting.
cool that you found out that.
Uh-huh.
That's really
Yeah.
interesting. They had poltergeist going.
And
That's
so many of the cases, like, watch paranormal TV. Like, but you know what I mean? It's just kind of funny. Like, at least three people with the last name Kaza that I'm related to that I've never met were like, "Hey, yeah, we've been watching on TV for years." I was like, "What?" You know?
it's good to know you have fans out there, extended relative. I'll touch
Yeah,
upon the paranormal in a little bit further, but when you finally took it off the shelf in your 20s, this ability
in my
yeah, of recognizing it, you talked about studying and you talked about what was the first steps to take that leap of the I'm not weird. All right, I may be weird. I have this ability. Who do I seek to define this or refine my ability? Like, how do you take it to the next level? So, what was that journey
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, for me, it was, super interesting because I thought I was gonna be a singer. So so I was in a band for a long time, and I met, John Holland when I was 23 years old. This is before I decided to embrace mediumship. And so, long story short, when I was like, okay, I got to figure this out, I was like, well, I know John. And I was like, John, what do I do? And he's like, you should go to the Arthur Finley College. So I went to Lilydale and I saw him do an event with Sharon Klingler, who I studied with as well. I love
Okay.
Sharon Klingler. And then I went to the UK and I listened to John and I went to the Arthur Finley College. And then I fell in love with it because it really feels it's just a magical place. It's a magical place. It's a castle. For those of you who don't know, you literally sleep in a castle and you study mediumship for 12 hours a day. And you like it's amazing. And so I started going there and I went on and off for about 5 years. I would go a couple times a year. Then I also went to another center called Zwanenhof, which is no longer in the like functioning, but it's in not for mediumship, but it's in the Netherlands. And I really trained hard. Like I took it very seriously. And then in the summers, I'd go to Lilydale every single summer and do every service that I could, just because I wanted to be good at platform mediumship. I wanted to understand how it worked.
And it's interesting you bring that up in that, first off, not a lot of us do platform. Most people who are developing are like, no, I just want to do one on one. Apparently, only the crazy ones. Like, and I say crazy in the sense that some of us, I think your singing background made it easier for you to step in front of an audience. And because of my background in nursing and teaching and having to teach medical students, it just came easy to some of us. And it's interesting, Cindy, that you bring this up. I did not know this. John was your first kick in the butt to go. Now I know he's
Well,
up in the
yeah, you told me where to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
So I just listened, and that's how I knew about the Arthur Finley College, because otherwise I wouldn't have known about it. It would have probably taken me longer. And I will say this too. I think I love platform so much because of my ADHD. I'm like, oh, perfect. I don't have to focus on one thing for like an hour. I can
Our
just be like, there's a spirit, there's a spirit, there's another one. I mean, it's like for my neuro style, it's like the perfect
For
perfect match.
neurodivergent people. Yeah, it's perfect. I have a little touch of that as well. And it's interesting too that John was my first mentor. People, because of, my mom doing this, but the people that she studied with had long crossed. And so John was the person that introduced me to Janet Havoc and the journey within, which was a
Yeah.
hop and a skip from me. And he
Yeah.
ended
You're
up,
lucky.
yeah, I am very blessed about that. And he was my first mentor, and I studied under him. So it's interesting that he's been so important in both of our lives for our studying. And one thing when I watched you work, which was amazing, I don't know if it's creepy. I just love to see other people work. Call it research and
I love
development.
watching other videos work. It's fun.
And so when I watched you work, you talked about being a lifelong student, which I love because I make sure I study with someone every year or watch someone work because I think it's that important. Just like in nursing, my CEU's continuing ed units, the same thing for mediumship. So when people start out and they're looking to study, it's important to study with somebody who's, like the journey within. They have amazing, like Colin Bates. I studied with Mavis Patilla, all these people, Tony Stockwell, just great.
I love
And
Tony.
oh my God, he's the best, isn't he? Oh, he's just, and even though it's a spiritualist church, you can get a dash of that religion, but really the mediumship shines through and the techniques and the ethics. And you studied with Paul Jacobs as your mentor.
Yeah, Paul was my main mentor, and thank God, he is not an easy mentor, which he shouldn't.
I've heard that,
but a lot of people were afraid of him. But actually, he was perfect for me because I needed somebody to squash my ego, to kind of just you know what I mean? I don't know, just he didn't praise me. He didn't he could be kind of hard. I cried a lot. And then I was like, God, thank God he was like that because when you work in public, you have to have a backbone. You have to be able to endure. And it was really, really important experience that I work with him. I think it was just, he really helped shape my mediumship in a really profound way. And so I'm really forever grateful to him for being my mentor.
Yeah. And the one thing that you mentioned in some of the things that I researched, you talk about, and this is what John has taught me, and I found similarity, and so did Tony and other teachers, but the integrity behind what we do and the ethics, which I think are tremendously important. Like I will never have someone sit with me 6 months prior or after, sooner, I should say, than someone's crossing because of the grief cloud that interferes with that communication. Is there anything that you can share ethically that is a no-go for you or a hard stop?
Well, I mean, look, do no harm, right? At least not intentionally. I mean, we're not always perfect, but it's I think for me, what I've learned along the way is that being a good medium is not just about how much amazing evidence you can get, because at some point it just becomes like the telephone book. When you see a medium just saying evidence, it can be amazing evidence, but if there's no heart in there, if there's no compassion in there, I don't quite understand that, because then it becomes more about the medium than it does about what you're doing with who you're working with, right?
Right.
And so I think a no-go for me, or something that I find to be, I don't know, what's the word? Disturbing. Let's say disturbing.
Sure.
It's a fun word. Okay. Is when you see a medium working with a client who's really raw and emotional and vulnerable because, the medium is bringing through something very intense. Like, I'm just going to use an example. Let's talk about losing a child, the death of a child, which is really sensitive, right? I've seen mediums just plow through evidence and so intensely, and just giving things in a way that they don't need to be given in that moment, because the mother already knows what happened.
Right.
And then you're just re-triggering and kind of traumatizing this person who's now, standing up in front of however many people, hundreds of people. And then where's that compassion, right?
Right.
Being able to really meet your client where they need to be met in that moment. And we don't always do it perfectly, but I think That's the difference. Like you can tell when a medium's been working for a long time because they don't have to give everything exactly how they see it.
Yes.
They know what to do with it.
That is perfect, because I too have seen this, because they think, and that's where, and I'll lead with another question to ego after this, but where it's like it becomes so important that if they talk about a suicide, how they did it, the things, the note, and all that, and you're just ripping that big Band-Aid off the heart. There's no need to share all of that. They know how happened. You're on the same page, so to speak, energetically with that soul that you're communicating with. So I agree with you. The ego of the medium, or just the lack of experience of how to deliver a sensitive message, being compassionate. You put it well.
Yeah, and it's also about like reading like being mindful of where the client's at, right? So like let me just give this is I say I get some spirit beat down sometimes. I don't like a spirit beat down, but sometimes I need a spirit beat down, So I was doing an event in Florida, and it was a big event. There were like, I don't know, maybe there's like 300 people there. And when you're on a stage like that, it's like you're like, okay, you're vulnerable as a medium. It's like a lot of energy to hold, space to hold. I was bringing through somebody who had overdose on drugs, a woman, and I thought I was with this woman. I felt very sure. I was like, I feel like I'm here. And so, long story short, okay, so I don't want to spend too much time going into that, but it took her a long time to raise her hand, and then she was being a little bit
Pensive,
confrontational with me,
Okay. Yeah.
And I couldn't understand what was happening. I was like, what do you not understand in this connection? She's like, well, I understand everything. I'm like, well, okay. And so I had a moment where I was like, what is going on? Why are we here? Like I got angry, right? And she started crying. She burst out crying. But this is what I learned. So this is why I'm telling this story, is that I in that moment like lost my cool a little bit because I was frustrated. But what I learned is that sometimes anger is not anger, it's sadness, and that people are trying so hard to not break down in front of all these people that it can come across as them being angry, and they're not, right? And so like I had to learn that the hard way, and I apologized to her in front of everyone. I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? That's my bad. I'm really sorry. I didn't understand what was going on. And it's like things like that, and we don't always know what somebody's going through, right? Like, or we might assume they're receiving something one way when it's not that way at all. And I know you work platforms. Sometimes it is annoying when people aren't claiming, and you're like, okay, oh my god,
like how much more? Like I had an event yesterday afternoon, and there's one guy I was with, and I was giving specifics, and he goes, well, it was a motor. It wasn't a gold wing. It was a Ninja motorcycle. Okay. All right. Shame me, because I don't know the difference between if a bigger bike and a smaller bike.
It's hard, right?
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, and I've learned so much over the years about like, really like, what's the word I want to use? Like preparing the audience. Well, I can't think today. I'm like, where's my brain? Setting expectations. Like a lot of people don't know how we work. They don't know what to expect.
And I think you do a beautiful job explaining beforehand. You go into it quite well and in detail. And I've tweaked some of the things I say based upon watching you work, by the way.
Oh, great. I hope you steal my intro, please.
No,
I don't care.
There's just certain ways like the event I had Sunday, there was 85% of that people in the audience had never seen me work, but came because of word of mouth.
Yeah.
And so they haven't seen me on social media or any of that. I was shocked. But nonetheless, I went into a little bit more in depth. And I think you do a great job about how you work and the expectation. John often talked, it's based on your life library. So medical will come through for me, photography, places I can describe quite well because of my background. I'm sure music plays a role with how you are shown it and understand that.
Well, medical too, because a lot of people don't know. I have taken a lot of science classes. I was a biology major for a while there.
Yes.
So I understand medical terminology and things like that. And I think also being open. So let me just share. I think this is, maybe this will make sense.
Go ahead.
Words to the point, but I was teaching my class yesterday, and in class, my students and I have been teaching a 6-month mentorship. We were talking about how our readings can feel redundant, or it gets kind of boring. Like when you get stuck in a pattern of like, okay, what's the relationship? How did they die? Like, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then how do we break out of the pattern, right? And so you have to be open to saying what spirit wants to give you, or they're not going to give it to you. So like, medicine, so they know that you will say that. But if you don't know cars, they're not going to give you cars, because you're going to be like motorcycles, right? Because they're like, well, she doesn't really know that, so we're not really going to give her that piece because she probably won't go there. And so they do use what's in your reference bank. But we did an exercise where we set the intention to bring through something unusual. For me, I was like, I want to see somebody passing in an unusual way, like somebody choking on a pee, or I don't know, So the second I set the intention and I trusted, it changed. Like I saw a firefighter going out on the ice. He fell through the ice. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not normally what I would see, but I was like, oh, wow, intention is everything. So the point I'm trying to make is, yes, they'll use what's in your reference bank, but also set the intention to push out of what you know and be open, but you have to be willing to deliver the information, even if it feels crazy.
Right. Okay. And this is great that I want to ask you that, because you're a tremendous teacher. I have taken a class with you, by the way, so I can speak from that realm.
Oh, thanks. I love teaching.
Yeah, and it shows. Not everybody. The whole thing about teaching. They say those that don't teach. No, not in mediumship.
Those that teach can't do it.
Yeah,
like, what is that?
Yeah, right.
Who made that rule
I
up?
totally agree with you.
Sense.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But you're a tremendous teacher. So here's the thing: how do you get ego out of the way for them to show you something that's unusual? Because you get that psychological where you start to go, I can't be, what the hell?
Well, that's what I mean. You have to be fearless. You have to be fearless in those moments. And that will be your best friend, to just be like, you know what's the worst that could happen? Somebody says, no, big deal.
My mom taught me, what you say what you see. And
and it's like,
yeah, just come right out and say it. So I think that's great advice. Having the ego step aside, because sometimes I get in my own brain when it comes to names, and I'm like, okay, just some days are better with names than others, but I feel like it's my ego that gets in the way, and it's just like I ask them to show it to me in a photograph or visually. And that's how I pick up on names. Or obviously they'll show me someone with that name to associate to that name.
Yeah. I had the craziest experience, actually.
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks ago. I was doing an event at the Shanley Hotel. And so, you know how mediumship is. You might be working clairvoyantly for 6 months, and then you get on stage and you're like, I can't see anything. What now? And then you have to go into feeling or whatever. Thank God you have tools in the tool belt, right? But so this particular event, I was working clairaudiently a lot prior to this event. And then I get up there, I'm like, I don't hear anything. But then I started seeing clairvoyantly, like the spirits like projected to an area behind the person they belong to. But there's a point to this. And I was like, whoa, I never work clairvoyantly like this. I was like describing what they look like. It's just not usually how I work. Okay. But to the point, I was like learning on the spot. I was like, weird. So I saw this woman and she like walked next to me, but I looked and my mom's head was on her body. And I was like, what the hell? But what it was is I was being shown that her name was Dorothy. And if it's the face on the body, that's the name of the spirit. But if it's not on the body, it's the name of somebody with the spirit.
Wow.
Right? And then I saw this other guy with like a face, and I was like, wait, it was the weirdest night. And I was like, I want to redo that night. That was a fun one, because I was learning so much from the spirit world, right? On the spot. But like, it's interesting.
And it is that we continue to evolve as mediums based upon our tools in our tool bag, our experiences, and then they teach us. Paul Jacobs talked about always being open to being taught by spirit. That,
oh my gosh, because they will teach you, right? But you have to be open to it. If you panic, like that night, I could have panicked because I was like,
this is
what
normal.
is going on?
Right.
this isn't normal. This is not how I work. What the hell? And then I was like, and you know what? I'm honest with the audience. I'll be like, well, guys, I don't know what's happening tonight, but let's roll with it. This is
Yes.
new for me. And I just tell people
And I
what's
love that
happening,
because that to me, that's what makes you a great medium, is that you're willing to evolve and go, okay, I've never seen this, but let's walk down this journey together. Let me ask you this before I switch gears and we talk a little paranormal. What's the best part about being a medium that you found in doing this work?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many things that I love about it so much. I think I'm still always just in awe that it's even happening. I know that might sound crazy, but it's true. Like, I'm just so in awe of the spirit world and that we get to have these experiences and if I ever lose that, I need to quit my job. Right. So I think the thing I love the most about it is like that, like the it's almost like I go into reading sometimes like a child, like with wonder,
Yeah,
in awe. And
yes.
I like that. I like that get to go into that space. And I'm grateful for all of the ways that spirit communicates. Like I really enjoy making art. I enjoy doing all these different things that are under the umbrella of mediumship.
Do you find that
Thank God there are a lot of different things.
I'm sorry, step on your toes, but the art, I find that people that do this work tend to be creative. Like it's the being able to be right brain and left brain at the same time. And not many people can walk that tightrope to be able to be a medium. And so let me ask you this. I play guitar badly. That's my outlet for this. So
Yeah.
when you do art, but it's spirit art as well. And you're bringing through either the spirits you're talking to or your guides. Is that correct?
It's usually like spirit guides, or it's been like spirit guides, or I'm drawing the images of people's past lives mixed in. Like it's
Wow.
like, or spirits of the land. It's like, I don't know, it just kind of happens. And it's been really, really fun. But I'm grateful too for the I guess the logical side of my mind too, right? Because it's so easy to get swept away into spirit. Like if you aren't careful, I mean, we've all seen it. I was there at the beginning for a while. I was like, "Whoa, that got weird," and then thank God I reined it in. Like, for example, like I was driving. I had a really long drive. I drove from Michigan to New Hampshire. It was like
Wow.
13 hours, and I listened to like a NPR podcast all about politics and things like stuff like that, just to keep me
Yes.
in this reality, right? I think if I were driving for 13 hours listening to meditations or like spiritual things, it's just like way too much in spirit. So the more grounded that we are, the better our mediumship is. I truly believe
And so
that.
you ground by how?
Well, listening to stuff like that, like
Okay.
just being like current events, not just politics, but just like, well, some of it, but like world events, learning about different cultures, things
Yes.
like that. I love science. I do yoga. That helps me a lot
Okay.
too. But I think if I look at just for the mind to get me really back in the body, it's like stuff like that.
Okay.
Like not going out. I don't need to go out anymore. I need to go in. That there's a podcast called The Way Out
Yes.
Is In. It's so good.
Uh-huh.
It's because Buddhism got it right. I mean, Buddhism got it right.
My mom had in our household growing up, we were taught all religions, and that all of that had something positive that we could all take from
sure.
it. And
They're all saying the
Buddhism
same thing.
for my mom, because she, traveled quite a bit and was always in tune with that. I was very much reared with the Buddhism beliefs. And so I agree with you. I mean, some people for grounding will do it through meditation, which is part of.
I just go out into spirit,
Okay.
or actually not always, but like it's kind of hard not to. I don't know.
Okay. Well, so is there anything?
I do meditate.
Okay.
And I will say sometimes it's hard for me sometimes I still go into spirit. Do you see what I mean?
Even
like
when
I'll
you
try
meditate.
to be in, even when I meditate, like it's taking me on a journey. And I'm just like, okay, I don't want to go on a journey. I just want to go in my body.
Yeah. Listen, we're not working. So speaking of working, right? If we talk about that, what's the worst thing about being a medium that you would say? Like that for me.
Okay, I think it's like this. It's like, I don't want to say the worst because that feels like
No,
I'm
just like
saying
a
it's the
negative or
worst.
just a challenge with
Being
being a
so
medium.
sensitive sucks sometimes. Being so sensitive sucks sometimes, like it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh my God, like it's challenging. It is challenging. I wish I could say that it weren't challenging at this point, but it's always going to be challenging. And that's, I think, what I'm learning as I'm getting older. It's more like, yes, I'm very sensitive, and now I get to stop trying to be like everybody else. And right, like, why do I think I need to go to that party with 50 people? I don't have to go to that party with 50 people. I can sit my ass at home and watch some TV and drink, a hot chocolate and
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
It's
Right.
like, because trying to put myself in a box, like somebody who's not as sensitive as me, it's never worked for me. And then it's made me feel bad about myself. Like, why can't I endure all of the energies like everyone
Okay,
else?
so that,
It's like, I'm done playing that
which is
game.
tough, right? Because like people you want to have a circle of friends. You want to have a village that's got your back. And of course, we're invited to social events. And I find when I go to social events, everybody's like, well, is my dad with me?
Well, there's that too.
And so,
Yeah.
and I lovingly teased and I went, wait, I thought I was at a party. Am I in my office? I didn't think I was. And I don't want to be snarky, but it's kind of like, I don't go up to a friend who's a doctor and ask for listen, I got a thing. Is that like, do you know what that?
Oh, I do.
Do you? Okay.
Like, hey,
Well, I
check out my neck.
I love you, Cindy. I do. You're a breath of fresh air. I kind of like, I keep work. I try. Now, there are times when spirit comes through and it's like, geez, and it won't shut up. Like I was doing, and this will be a lead in for our paranormal. I was doing the Hurley tour, which we sold tickets here in Collingswood. It was a fundraiser and this place was jumping. I mean, I sat there and went, what the hell? And on that tour, the first tour I gave, an energy was quite literally doing this. And his name was, I believe, Fred, and he wouldn't shut up. And he's like, I died this way. I was like, this is not, and I didn't even meditate, like to open it up. Long story short, it was somebody's grandfather. They drove home at 6:30 going, oh my God, he died in the elevator. So spirit.
Oh, wait, they died that night?
No, the woman that was in the audience that was pretty close to me was his granddaughter that he never met.
Oh.
He died at 45. And I said, massive head trauma. He tells me he fell. He died at 45 and nobody could take him. I said, listen, I'm not trying to work, but he won't shut up and I have to work. Like I want to keep, I said, it's like a kid that mom, it's like, ugh. So
I know that feeling.
Right. And I said, I'm going to break what I said, I'm not working, and do that. Long story short, yes, it was somebody. They were like, "Oh my God," and and I'm defeating the whole purpose of saying I'm not doing mediumship gallery reading, and it showed up anyway. But it's just to have the opportunity to have some fun. I'm someone else. Being a medium isn't all that I am, but picking up and going to a party and having everybody's energy come at you is exhausting, and I do.
That's why I don't go to parties, Kym. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Just don't go.
I do protection. The toughest part, and let me ask you this, you travel a lot. For me, energetically, on an airplane, in an airport, holy hell, everybody's anxiety. I have my headphone in,
right,
and I'm trying to like not feed into it.
But there's this thing. I got to read this to you. I got to find this because it was so, I'm like, oh, I feel so seen. Hold on. I got to find this.
I would love to hear it.
It was about how people like that are neurodivergent traveling can feel like home because of the neuro style. And I was like, oh my God, it makes so much sense because I love traveling. I live out of a suitcase, and people, I don't know where this thing went. People don't understand. They're like, how can you do that? How do you live like that? It doesn't make sense. I could never do that. And I'm like, I don't know. It's where I feel the most at peace. It's where I feel the most at home. Right. And so it just, I can't find it, but it was so true to me. It was like, it was just so true to how my brain works. And so I guess where I'm going with this is that for me, yes, it can be a lot, but it was something like this. Let me summarize. It was like, traveling, for me, because I've never fit into a box, and the idea of like fitting into this box, or I should stay home 5 days a week and do this, it feels so uncomfortable for me. It makes my mind crazy that when I'm actually traveling, I feel at home and free because I don't have to feel like I have to be in this box that society told me I have to be in, because that's never worked for me, right? It's never worked. And I was so hard on myself because I didn't understand why I was different, or why did people think that what I was doing was weird? I didn't understand, you know. People say stuff to me all the time. They're like, "Oh, how do you do? Your schedule's crazy. I would never do that." I'm like, "Well, then don't do it."
Right. It doesn't, if it doesn't work for you. I often tell people I love to throw shit in a bag and go. And it's funny that maybe it's because
Yeah.
of me being neurodivergent. I'm like, go ahead. You want me? Someone just invited me up to Prince Edward Island. And I was like, she goes, I have a little cottage. It's modest, but you're more than, and I was like, how sweet are you? First off, to invite me. Secondly,
Yeah, we should go.
listen, I'm looking to do it this summer, throw some crap in a bag and get my butt up to PEI. I know you're from New Hampshire, and I love that whole upper northeast.
Beautiful.
It is gorgeous. I've been to New Hampshire. My father-in-law, God love him, was from Concord.
Oh yeah, I'm in Manchester.
Yeah.
Oh wait, here it is. I found it.
Oh,
I found it,
good.
Kym. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, for us neurocomplex individuals, home isn't always where familiarity lies. It's where freedom is felt, where expectations loosen, where the map doesn't expect you to fit a grid you never chose. And paradoxically, for many of us, that sense of home is most palpable while traveling.
Wow. I like the light bulb. Just like, that's amazing. Yes.
Right?
I love to travel. I would travel. I don't want to say envious of your schedule, but my schedule is switching more to on the road and events than it is one-on-ones. And it's funny, you talked about, when you talk about putting things in a bag and going, and that you're always on the road and it's not exhausting to you, and other people would be, that it's.
And sometimes it is, but it's just like fleeting. It's like then sometimes, Kym, honestly, I feel more comfortable sleeping in a hotel than I do in my own bed. I'm like, well, that's weird. Like I get on a plane, I'm like, I'm home. I'm like, that's maybe not great.
Maybe not. Maybe not everybody's feeling that way. I got to ask you, because you do amazing work in paranormal. Okay. You just,
Thank you.
And I looked for that damn book, The Holzer Files, that my mom has signed by him, and I couldn't. I know it's somewhere, and I will take a picture and send it to you, promise. But how did you start to take that leap of mediumship into paranormal investigation?
Yeah, I never would have done paranormal investigation had it not been for Painless Productions reaching out to me about Holzer Files. Like, I can't say never would have done it. It may just have happened much later. But, I get this call from the production company, and they're like, well, we're trying to put together this TV show. And so anyway,
I love Holzer
I didn't
Files.
even know who Hans Holzer was. Like, that's how like lights out I was, because I've just been in the spiritualist, way of working. And so anyway, when I realized how much he appreciated mediums, I was like, okay, this could be a really cool show, because, the concept of like me getting to go back to these places that Ethel and Sybil had gone, and to see if we get the same thing 40 or 50 years later. I was like, that sounds really fun.
So cool.
And I feel so lucky to have been a part of that show. It was really, really an incredible show to make. And so but what people don't know is that like I was like learning on the spot. Like I was like, thank God I had all these tools in the tool belt from the years of training, like psychometry and automatic writing and spirit art, and like, but I was new to doing that many paranormal investigations. And then by the time I got to like Dead Files, I was like, okay, I got this, but it's really stressful. Honestly, it was intimidating, because as the medium, the whole setup of the episode hinges on what I get.
Right. Little pressure there, Cindy. Just a old petite, right?
It's so stressful. And, they don't tell me anything. They don't tell me where I'm going. Right. They don't tell me anything. And so I'm like, oh my God. And Dave Schrader tells a story where like the first couple of episodes we filmed, he thought I was like a terrible medium initially, the first one, because because he's like, what is she? Nothing that she's getting is in the notes. But then he would ask the historian, and what I was getting, it wasn't in Hans's notes, but it was
Prior.
accurate, and it led us down a different path. But Dave was like, who is this quack of a medium?
Where'd you dig her up, for God's sake? I just loved it.
But then it wound up, but that was like, it was just like having that weight on your shoulders is a lot. But then I think after several investigations, years of doing investigations, you just trust that what you're getting is what you're meant to get. You have to just like lean into that.
Right. And that's what you talked about your earlier trading. Absolutely. So you did Holzer Files for how many years?
Holzer Files was 2 seasons.
Yes.
Then Dave and I did Go to Devil's Perch. That was 1 season. And then I did several shock docs, then Dead Files for a season. The new show, Paranormal Mysteries on Stream Beacon TV.
That's where I was leading into. Okay. And that's, the band is back together again. So that's Sean, Dave, and you.
Yeah. Shane.
Shane and Shane?
Oh, I thought you said Sean. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shane, I can't read my handwriting. Shane, Dave, and you. And that's on Beacon TV.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about what that show's about.
Oh, so fun. It was really fun to make that show because Dave, Shane, and I had worked together before on Holzer Files for 2 seasons. Really we're just going and investigating interesting locations, but we love working together. We have really good chemistry together.
You do. You do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it was just like, it was fun because we didn't have so much pressure on us. I think Beacon TV is Shane's creation. So when all the paranormal shows basically got canceled because of these mergers that have been happening with Discovery, Warner, and all the things, and now I guess Warner being bought out by Netflix, it's like crazy time in television. There was no place for paranormal programming to go. A lot of it's being syndicated. It's just what's happening in the industry right now. So Shane started his own streaming platform that's dedicated to paranormal, true crime, and horror. So now, we have
fantastic.
Jack Osborne has a show coming out on Beacon TV. So a lot of us are going over there because, it's where we can air our stuff, but it's also really fun. So we get to get less pressure. It's more fun.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Cindy. Where was your favorite place that you've investigated?
Oh, that is
I would go back in a heartbeat.
Question. It's such a hard question because I like locations for different reasons. So the most haunted place I've investigated, Ashmore Estates. That place is crazy. That place is
Ashmore?
That place
is that in
Illinois?
Illinois. Okay.
That place is really crazy. So most activity, I like disembodied voices, hearing things move. I was like, okay, this place I've never experienced anything like that. It's a crazy, crazy investigation.
Is there a place you'd never go back? Say, oh, hell no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Well, I probably wouldn't go back to Bobby Mackey's, but that place got torn down. So, the land is there. But other than that.
Negative energy there?
I didn't really like it. I thought it was weird.
Okay.
Also, I think I don't need to do Ed Gein's farm anymore. I'm okay with that, to not do that again.
Okay. And what so that place is notorious for what?
Well, Ed Gein, the serial killer, that all those horror movies are based on, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Sounds of the Lambs. I had to go investigate the land where his childhood home was on. And it's just, it's dark. Serial killer stuff is dark because it's like psychological. It's not just like I see dead people. It's like, oh, and now I have to see all this horrible stuff in my mind at the same time,
Right. So let me ask you this. When you go out to do an investigation for, let's say, some new beginners, some newbies doing some kind of work, paranormal work. Is there any advice you could give people, especially if you're sensitive, before you walk into a place that's got activity, a do or don't, is there any way you protect yourself so they don't come home with you?
Well, look, the truth is they're around us all the time, all day, every day. It's like, do I think things can get stuck in our auric field? Yes. And I also don't focus on that all the time because spirit is everywhere all the time. We're not separate from it, right? So I don't go into an investigation like, oh no, I better not get anything on me in this one. I'm like, I just assume that something's probably going to get in there. And then it's like, well, then what do you do after? It's about, for me, it's like, okay, how am I taking care of myself after? How am I managing? I don't walk in from a place of fear. It doesn't do me any good.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, like everybody has to find their own way. everybody has to find what works for them. I don't like to be too attached to any kind of a ritual before anything, because
Okay.
if I can't do the ritual, then that creates fear. Like, well, I didn't do the ritual, so now I'm going to get possessed. And, oh,
Yes.
now I can't do it. Like.
Yeah, right.
But I understand why people have those things. I understand why people have prayer and mantras, and I understand all of it. So everybody just needs to find what works for them, right?
Okay. Fair enough.
Be
Fair enough.
intentional and be respectful of the spirit world. I think that is one thing I would say. Don't go in guns blazing, yelling at spirits. And like, can you imagine being on the other side and you're like, oh, here come these clowns yelling at us. Come out, ghost, like that's so insulting.
No, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I know there's people out there that have made a very good living on being antagonistic. I go in with much respect and just hanging out. If there's something they want to share, fantastic. I always introduce myself and I always thank them. Yeah, because there's like, it's just not my cup of tea. I walk in and it's interesting. When you did anyone teach you how to do automatic writing when you do the paranormal?
Yeah, so I had no idea what automatic writing was until my friend Mary Lynn. I met her in 2007 in Nashville, and we met through music. I was living in Nashville at the time, and she became a good friend. And she's like, "Hey, my sister and I do this thing called automatic writing." I'm like, "What's that?" She's like, "Let me come over. I'll show you." Because she knew that I was into mediumship, right? So like we had that in common. And she came over one night, and she goes, "Okay, I'm going to put my hand on your hand on the pen, and then it's going to move." And I was like, okay. And then it started moving. I was like, weird. And then the next day I was like, I'm going to try this myself. And it was like, so
boom.
It was waiting to come out. Like, there's certain people that enter your life and you're like, well, that person was plopped there for a reason to show me that, because that's what got me really moving forward and doing like events, because I used to do all my events through automatic writing. People don't know that. I would have like a projector in my computer and I would do automatic writing for everyone. It was crazy. This is in like 2008, and then I realized I was like, it's not very practical to carry a laptop around everywhere. I think I need to like do something different, so.
Well, see, and that's how your mediumship evolved. I was always fascinated. I remember at the age of 9, I can see this red bound book. It's very funny. I'm seeing orbs, and I'm sorry that I just stopped because you just had an orb go across too.
Please.
Yeah, it's like spirit all around us. There goes one. And it had gold lettering, and the title of it was Unfinished Symphonies.
Cool.
And I was absolutely just gobsmitten over this damn book. And my mom was like, "What 9-year-old wants to look at automatic writing?" So I had a client recently, I wanted to share this with you, who was very much missing a loved one and she's shown that she has, do you ever have somebody sitting in front of you that you're like, oh, you could sit here.
Yeah, right.
If you just do,
of course.
Right. Do some classes or some training. So I asked her, I said, well, have you ever heard of automatic writing? So I gave her, to set the intention, to maybe a little meditation and just sit. The stuff that has come out has been wow.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Yeah. So I think it's wonderful that you use that talent on the show and that the things that you pick up are just incredible, that you can plug into the earth and the energy there. When is the show launching? It's coming out.
Oh, it's already out. The Paranormal Mystery is out. It's on Beacon. You can watch the whole season. You can go watch all 6 episodes right now on Beacon.
Good. Okay. Do you have anything that's coming up? I know that you're on tour because you love to throw shit in the bag and go. And I say that lovingly. I'm a tad jealous. Is there anything coming up with you that you'd like to my listeners to know?
I mean, yeah, I'm touring, doing live events, teaching, making art.
Are you going to have an art showing soon?
I want to. We'll see what happens.
I see that psychically for you.
Oh, thanks, Kym.
I do. I see you in an art gallery walking around and talking about your pieces.
I would love that. Where is it? Can it be in New York City? That would be fun.
I would love it. Is there somebody, Gary, who's involved with it, or Hard G? Garrett?
Well, no, but not Gary, but there's the Parker Gillingham is like a
Gillingham. There you go. That's the person that's going to put the show on.
Sweet. I'm down.
Yeah, excellent. So if you have a chance out there, Cindy Kaza, That's Cindy, and then Kaza
AAVA.
.com. And go look at her events. She's amazing to watch. I could sit there all day and just sit there and go.
Yeah, when are we
"God,
going
this
to do
is
our
great."
event together, Kym? Let's get it on the board.
We are. Well, we are doing it. We're going to get together and and get this locked up in 26. Probably. When do you like to fall?
I
Summer?
work all year.
I know. I'm going to have to find something. But if you get a chance in 26, check her out on tour. You're headed also. Where are you going in 26? Early 26?
Well, I will be in Southeast Asia and then India, but I'll be gone for 3.5 months. I am filming my passion project, although I don't know when it will be coming out, but stay tuned.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Leave a little something there. Dangle of a carrot. Well, Cindy, you're an amazing person, amazing medium, teacher, and just I'm thrilled that you took the time to sit with us and just share a little bit of your insights.
It was really fun, Kym. You're a great host.
Oh, you're sweet. I appreciate it. I look forward to working with you on the big stage. All right. Be well until we sit and talk again. All right.
Bye
for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time for another episode of Mediumship Moments. If you enjoyed this episode of Kym's podcast, check her out on Instagram and TikTok at Kym Durham Medium.